Breaking news now. Carti has a restraining order on Offset.
Offset broke.
If I catch Buddy and I can catch him, it's gonna be bad.
You
So I
won't
think
beat
she
him up?
on some man, beach, strip, and need all types of shit.
He was panicking. He was asking random people for cash apps. He was broke. I don't know what happened. Nobody was answering his phone call. He probably trying to run up, chasing. Must got us gambling addiction.
And then he has $2 million owed in taxes, and that the IRS has been like trying to get his shit, and that he's about to file for bankruptcy. Like, and that he's been trying to gamble to like get all this money back, but he keeps losing.
Think sweet? Don't think it's sweet. It ain't sweet, but on my mama, it ain't. My mama, you think you seen something every time? Why did?
Lobbies and gentlegrams, what the hell is going on in 2026? Two stories I reported on back in January, the first month of the new year, included the Pooh Shiesty robbing Gucci Mane situation and Offset getting exposed by Selena Powell for allegedly having a horrible gambling addiction that led him to borrow thousands of dollars from her with no plans on paying it back. Now, 2 months later, in the span of just 4 days apart, we get very dark updates on both these situations that I was personally hoping had no real validity or truth to them, but it seems like both instances took a turn for the worse. The Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane thing, Pooh Shiesty is currently incarcerated facing charges of kidnapping. In the description of this video, you'll find another video I did where I explain that entire situation and the history behind it. And then again, like 3-4 days after that happens, we get an update in the Offset situation, which really took an outcome darker than I could have possibly imagined. Because as we unpack this story, you'll see that Selena Powell was accusing Offset of being stuck in the Hard Rock Casino gambling for days upon end. Well, now TMZ reports that he was actually shot outside that very same casino. This is just incredibly sad, you guys, because obviously we know what happened with Takeoff, right? A very similar situation where a fight that was rooted in pride and ego led to a shooting, which of course led to Takeoff's life being taken so early. Thankfully, Offset is okay, but again, I can't help but notice the similarities in behavior and patterns of this series of events between Offset's situation and that of Takeoff's. And then in the middle of all that, just last month in March, the IRS had claimed that Quavo, the third member of the Migos, owes nearly $3 million in unpaid taxes. All of these situations, from everything going on with the Migos to the Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane stuff, seems like it should have been so easily avoidable. But I know as far as the gambling stuff goes, like, that could have a grip on you that is completely uncontrollable. So how did we get here to the point where Offset is now reported to have been shot outside the biggest casino in Florida? Well, to understand how we got here, I think we gotta zoom out and look at a lot more than just Offset hanging around the Hard Rock Casino. For him to have gotten to this financial position in the first place, when him and the rest of the Migos were at the top of the world at one point, we gotta understand what happened to Offset's career.
I study
Rapaholics
for a living.
Offset at one point in time, during the Migos' prime, he was probably my favorite Migos. I mean, because he had the perfect combination of both the melodies and the bars, right? Like, I don't think he was a better rapper than Takeoff, and I don't think he was better at creating hooks or creating melodies than Quavo was, but he kind of had the perfect balance of both, which gave him the upper hand on those posse cuts because he was able to be a lot more versatile. And especially, again, in their peak years like 2016, 2017, he usually had the standout verses because he was just about almost on par with Quavo for, again, incorporating unique melodies and vocal stretches and flows into the music.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking, the hot box.
But then he could also pack his verses with flows that were very bar heavy, almost as well as Takeoff. And when they really hit their peak, their boiling point around when Bad and Bougie went #1, a lot of people at that point in time were saying like Quavo was out of here, like he was the hook king. If you had Quavo on your hook, that was the stimulus package. Your song was an automatic hit. But it was really Offset, in my opinion, that was showing by far the most potential to go on and have the most or highest flourishing solo career if the Migos ever did split up, which they ended up doing. I always say, I don't know why him and Murda Beats never released this song Growth on streaming platforms. I think this had potential to be like a #1 hit back in 2017. This is one of the best Migos songs by far, and it's an Offset solo song. This is just Offset here.
My cash right, the good life. I don't want no hood life. I'm so right.
But anyways, this is a long rant to say that, I mean, when you look at it from this point in time, I don't think any Migos has fallen off harder than Offset. I mean, it's not even a debate or question, right? Rest in peace, Takeoff. He was gone way too soon. Sadly, definitely didn't live long enough to see his full potential, because at the time of his passing, we were getting some of the best songs that he had ever released. And then with Quavo, he's kind of all over the place. I mean, he's going from like country music to just like generic trap, showing he hasn't evolved too much, but he's still been good for the occasional mild hit every couple of years. Like last year, he had that big moment with the Metro Boomin track. But I say Offset had the most potential to come out the best Migos in terms of a solo career, not just because I thought he was the best Migos during their commercial peak, but also due to circumstance. It didn't hurt that he was standing next to Cardi B for almost a decade. That brought a whole new set of eyeballs on him that maybe wouldn't have even heard of him if he wasn't married to her. He also had a bunch of disputes with the original record label that signed Migos, QC, and had a long battle to actually buy himself out of his record contract, which is going to play an important role in the story and how things turned ugly very shortly.
Acting like I'm the problem. I pay millions to get my rights back. You blackballed me. I ain't said shit one time, homie. I ain't spoke to you in 2 years. Now I drop and you want your name on my credit?
But for a while, buying himself out of his record contract actually seemed like a blessing. I mean, he put out an album in 2023, I believe, called Set It Off, which did okay commercially. It was enough to get him on a small solo tour around America. And I mean, I'm documenting this because there are still so many unanswered questions as to how we even got to where we got to with Offset in the big 2026. The music at this point doesn't really have anything to do with it, but me being an Offset fan in the past, and beyond that, I feel like when an artist begins to spiral, emotionally or in their personal life, you can kind of see that reflected in the quality of the music. I mean, look at Kanye West's output over the last, 3 years.
I spent, all the money for the commercial on these new teeth.
And I know some people liked his new album, Kiari. I didn't mind some of the songs, but I don't know. Ever since Kendrick came out with that bar on Whacked Out Murals, old flows trying to convince you that you're their favorite, nothing does it for me anymore, especially the music that's been coming out of Atlanta from the heavy hitters that were dominating the late 2010s, Offset being a prime example. But speaking of Kendrick Lamar, it did seem like Offset was taking some inspiration from Kendrick's album Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers by making his latest effort in 2025, Kiari, more of an album centered around themes of therapy, growth, dealing with his pain, his hurt, his loss.
Kiari, it's great to see you again. So tell me, how have things been? Kiari? Offset?
But then the album comes, and I mean, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm biased, but to me, it was a whole lot of stale flows, surface level subject matter that we've heard a million times over. I think the numbers speak for themselves on that project. I mean, the thing came and went. Jid had the best verse on that album. Nothing else really stood out except, I guess, the Gunna collaboration, where Offset is kind of doing his best Gunna impersonation. I mean, if he was smart at this point, he'd probably just link up with Gunna and drop a collab tape, since no other Atlanta artist seems to want anything to do with Gunna except for Offset. And keep in mind, there was a decent budget behind this album, right? The marketing was there. He was on all those late night shows doing performances. He had all these bigger budget music videos. He had features. But the numbers just aren't there. That's going to play an important role, again, in this story. Because remember, he apparently had to buy himself out of his contract for several $1 million from QC to then go on and even put out these solo albums to begin with. So what does he do? Well, he joins NBA YoungBoy on his Make America Slime Again tour. You guys have probably seen clips of 10-year-olds going crazy at this show. Now, Offset joining this tour, to me, raised a lot of question marks. Yeah, your career's not in the place that it was in 2017 or 2018, but you have been in the game a lot longer than an NBA YoungBoy. You have more #1 hit records than NBA YoungBoy. Are you nearly as close to as popular as YoungBoy right now? Absolutely not. But from an aesthetic standpoint, like strategically, if you're going out there as the opener to this tour, you're already placing the thought in people's minds that your stock or your price or your brand has went down heavily, right? You can't even do your own tour at this point. Secondly, I didn't even know Offset was actually on this tour until I looked at the bill. And the reason for that is he's really being promoted on this tour like some opening act. Like he didn't put in years of number one hit after number one hit long before NBA Youngboy was even a household name, which is crazy. It kind of shows you he's taking any bag he could get. Youngboy and Offset, their fan bases don't really align, even though it might seem like they came up in the same era or make similar music. And that was no more obvious than when Offset, in the middle of that tour, dropped a surprise mixtape, thinking that the hype that maybe he generated from doing these 10,000 people stadiums would get him a little bit of buzz to start selling his own albums, since the Chiari album he put out earlier in 2025 didn't really sell that well. Well, this new surprise mixtape, even with the hype of being on that NBA Youngboy tour, that mixtape sold so little, I don't even think it was able to crack the Billboard 200 chart. Offset had to come out and defend the fact that it was a surprise mixtape, and that's why it sold so low.
Embarrassing.
Spicy.
Now, I bring all this up to say, on the music side of things, things have not been looking great for Offset in general, right? And it seems like he's taking any opportunity he can to make a bag, and he's been working really hard to promote all this new music that he has, but just nothing is sticking. And when nothing's sticking, when the sales aren't coming in, you got to start opening on tour for a rapper who blew up years after you blew up. All signs point to one thing: Offset might have a money problem. And normally I wouldn't be on here pocket watching. Normally I wouldn't even drop a video talking about a bunch of Offset drama. But this video kind of hit home for me because I have some friends who suffer from similar vices if, the allegations against Offset are true. And I think some important lessons can actually be learned from this situation. So I want to highlight the dangers of gambling, and that's why I thought it was important to make this video. So the allegations against Offset right now are stemming from Selena Powell. Now, there's been people who have called Offset out on his alleged gambling issues beforehand. Again, Lil Tjay being the main individual who is now at the center of this alleged attack against Offset, where he got shot outside the casino. But before this, in late 2025, it was actually Selena Powell who had really kind of shined a heavy spotlight on Offset's gambling addiction when she accused him of stealing money from her and saying that all of these issues stem from the fact that Offset has a money problem, not just in the fact that he can't afford his lifestyle, but he also can't fund his addiction, allegedly. And we've heard of Offset kind of having some money issues in the past. I didn't even know it was this bad until I started doing this video and looked into this more, you guys. So, a couple years ago when Cardi B actually finally filed for divorce, TMZ had then reported that Offset was requesting spousal support from Cardi B. Now, mind you, Cardi B is obviously more successful than Offset. Her career as a solo artist has likely earned, a considerable amount more than Offset has with his 1/3 of a chunk of the Migos' profits, right? So it makes sense if they're living together, maybe Cardi B's covering most of the costs of things. But once you're divorced, you're living on your own, Offset should have a steady enough income where he can support, a decent lifestyle on his end for his kids when he has custody of them. And then when, they're at Cardi's crib, well, she could figure out her own finances. But no, according to TMZ, Offset wasn't even requesting child support, like money from Carti to help pay for things for the kids. No, he wanted spousal support. Like him just having married her in the past, he was entitled to some of her money. So that's kind of strange. You would think Offset has enough of his own money. He doesn't need to start going to court trying to take Carti's money. But then she ends up going on Instagram around this time, calling out Offset for the fact that he didn't pay for anything. So the fact that he's asking for money from her when she's been the one footing the bill on everything is absurd. And I mean, pay attention to what Cardi B says here, because then it plays an important role in what's going on right now in 2026. So Carti went off on Offset. She said, "My kids got their own driver, picked up, dropped off from school, gymnastics, boxing classes. The kids' driver's on retainer for $10,000 a month. Let me know if they're taking applications for that job. $10,000 a month to drive around. That's crazy. Then Culture School, that's their kid together. Cardi B says, Offset, you didn't pay for that. That's $45,000. Then Waves School, that's their other child, is $35,000, which you didn't help me pay for at all this year. Then, I know I was a kid almost 25 years ago, but I didn't realize the prices in like everyday kid things went up like crazy like this. Like Cardi B saying the babysitter is $3,000 a week. The nanny is $500 a day. The tutor that they have charges $250 the hour? What? Huh? $300 an hour for a piano class? Then there's gymnastics, there's boxing classes. Cardi B says she pays for it all. She said, Kiari, which is Offset's real name, have I asked you for anything? You want spousal support so bad? And mind you, this is not even including food. My kids have a personal chef that comes in 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. that I pay for because people in my house don't have time to cook. Our daughter Culture constantly used to get threats, probably from the Barbs, allegedly. So I have security around my house 24 hours a day, which I pay for as well. You don't help with none of it. She also accused Offset of being an absent father, only seeing their new child blossom 5 times since she was born. That's none of my business, but the whole thing about the money, Offset not footing the bill for anything, and then wanting spousal support kind of shows you even further where his financial situation is at this point, right? Now, mind you, years before this, in the Bad and Bougie era, Lil Tjay claims that Offset had been tweaking out at the casino, down a crap ton of money. Lil Tjay, Offset, they're both at this casino, and Tjay is watching Offset spiral, asking everyone for money, taking out $13,000 in loans, and even a $10,000 loan from Lil Tjay himself. Lil Tjay, again, at the time, he's looking at Offset like, this is the Migos. The Migos, they're saying they have more hits than the Beatles. Like, Offset's good for $10,000. What's $10,000, right? They pay that to the babysitter on a monthly basis, right? He's good for $10,000. No, last year, in January of 2025, almost like 10 years after Lil Tjay lent Offset this money, Lil Tjay said Offset ducked him and ultimately just never gave him the bread.
Why this Offset? Offset broke. Oh yeah, I'm gonna tell y'all the stream too. That nigga broke. That nigga pop. I'll tell y'all a true story. I ain't got nothing to do with that shit in the casino. He was pop. He was panicking. He was asking random people for cash apps. He was broke. I don't know what happened. Nobody was answering his phone call. He popped, trying to run up, chasing. Must got a gambling addiction. And the nigga says, yo, he just popped. He calling for cash apps in front of me. I ain't gonna lie to you. The first 5 I offered, I'm like, yo, you pop. You waiting for some bread? Waiting for my money. I swung that nigga 5. You know how I get. He gets popped. Not us two dicing each other. He gets popped straight to the casino. He get another loan from somebody else for like 2 bands. I don't even take my loan. I'm like, that's Offset. I'm good on my money. I'm worried about this. I got mad bread. I definitely run off for 5 bands. He pops for the next band. He get 2 bands. He get a band from a random lady. I swear to God, I don't know who the she was. He's like, yo, thanks, ma. He pops that. Throw the another 5. So I see like 13 bands in loans. I don't know who got paid back that day. Bro, where's my mother? This shit ducked me for so long, boy. And mind you, I'm 23. And this is Raindrop. Drop Top, Cardi B husband. And I'm only talking crazy because he was talking crazy. Like, why? He was talking crazy to me over my bread. And I beat him up on his birthday, but
Lil Tjay would make another Instagram post saying that he can never be broke like Offset, running off and starting beef over quote-unquote lunch money, aka small amounts of money, right? And Offset was like, meet me in Newark, we're gonna fight this out. Now, he never ended up fighting Lil Tjay, but he also tried to fight or have other people fight Selena Powell. And if you thought the accusations Lil Tjay made against Offset were bad, you don't even know the half of what's to come with Selena Powell. Now, the idea that Offset decided to associate himself even in the slightest degree with Selena Powell shows you the state of mind that this man is in right now, the decision-making skills that he is implementing inside his life, how poor they are currently. Because just to put it into perspective, Selena Powell, when Offset and Cardi B were going through all their turbulence, Cardi was accusing Offset of cheating and all that, Selena Powell came up with a fake rumor that Offset got her pregnant. She did the same thing to multiple other rappers, Smoke Perp, Schoolboy Q. She's had her back and forths with Akademiks for years at this point. So for Offset to be one of her victims and then actually associate himself with her, not just that, associate himself romantically with her, and not just that, also look to borrow money from this girl and using his love and their romantic relationship as leverage to get more money out of her, again, shows you how poor this man's decision-making skills at this point in time currently are. So the string of great decisions from Offset, according to Selena Powell, start off on a random night at 4 a.m. when Offset calls Selena, and while she thinks it's a booty call, no, it's actually a booty call. Like a pirate, you get it? Like, booty, matey. Like, he didn't want her pleasure chest, he wanted her treasure chest, all right? Enough of the cringe. Let's get into what she had to say.
One day at 4 o'clock in the morning, I get a call.
I was sleeping through this crucial time when I should have been up to
she needed to be up. I make the worst decisions when she's asleep. So it was 4 o'clock in the morning. I woke up. Damn, Instagram calling me. I was like, oh my God. I was like, what's up? And I thought he was just like horny. So I was like, okay. But like, I can't fuck you. I'm on my flow. So it's like, what are we talking about? He was like, yo, I need a favor. This is a test.
Let's not skip over that. He told her he still needed that. He still needed that fuck.
Yeah. Oh. So he was like, I did a favor and this is a test. I was like, okay, what? He was like, how much money can you get or are you by? And I was like, I mean, like I sent him the video, like all that money that I have in my safe.
You're a rich
and he immediately called me. He called me back and then he was like, bring all of it. And I was like, I don't even know how much this is. He was like, bring all of it because I have a shit ton of 20s and then like hundreds.
At the time, not now, currently.
No.
Because, continue. Keep going.
Because now, so then he was like, yeah, bring all of it. So I actually did.
Now I was thinking about it, and in my head, like this repeated pattern, because he kind of did the same thing with Cardi B, right? Like he ran off, making her pay for everything, and then like demanded spousal support and all that. All this stuff could be like a fetish or like a power thing in a relationship, right? Where like you're trying to gain some sort of leverage or control over your significant other by basically making them feel worthless if they're not providing something for you. And in this case, that would be money. But I mean, how down bad could you be that you're calling Selena Powell at 4 a.m. to try and get her money from her? Now, like I told you guys before, I did want to actually touch on somewhat of some serious stuff in this video because the behavior Offset is displaying just by calling her alone at 4 a.m. and what you'll see later in this video, it's very common in what you see in someone suffering from a gambling addiction. You lose all sense of proper judgment. Like the only thing going on in your mind is how will I get my next dollar to place my next bet? And it causes you to spiral out of control and ask people for money that you would never hit up in a million years. Like I've witnessed this with my own two eyes. I have a friend who a severe gambling addiction, and I mean I watched him hit up, I would say, a good like 100 people in the span of 3 days to lend him some money. And in that moment you're going through all different types of excuses, right? He's lying to people saying that his mom needs help with her mortgage payment, he's running a side business and he needs to pay his employees. Like he's asking any random person in the world for money, and it's all just so he can place more bets. It's a very dangerous spiral, and Offset from the outside looking in seems to be kind of on that same spiral.
But in my mind, I was like, I can't give him the 20s. Like, let me just give him the hundreds. He was like counting out in the car. I went to the casino, by the way. I'm not going to do every single detail and have this.
She's working on her 40-minute straight drag.
Yeah. Because it gets worse, y'all. So then I get to the casino or whatever. He gets in the car. And then he's like we talk or whatever. He gives me a kiss. I was like,
huh? If there's any part of this story that proves how disgustingly down bad Offset is, this should be the part you really focus on and hone in on. This man is so down bad. He's so disgustingly broke. He's so down to his last that he gave Selena Powell a kiss on the mouth because she brought him money. I don't know a man in my life who I know, rather it's a brother, rather it's the homie, rather it's my uncles, my nephews, whatever. I don't know a man in my life who's that down bad that they would kiss Selena Powell on the mouth for any amount of money. You can't pay me $10 million to kiss Selena Powell on the mouth, bruh. Do you know how many beef sticks have been on those lips, bro? Are you out of your mind?
Now, this to me is what makes me think it's like a power dynamic thing or a fetish or something, because she's giving him the money and only then does he kiss her. And she thinks they're in some sort of relationship, and because of that, she'll get her money back. She's not getting her money back. And this is where it gets bad, all right? He calls her on Christmas Eve, and, you know, you'd think, oh, what a nice boyfriend calling his girl on Christmas. You know, maybe he's out of town, he wants to check up on her, see how her family's doing. No, that's not what that phone call was about.
Called. I was like, oh, my man's calling me on Christmas. He's going to say Merry Christmas. Hello, Daddy. You got PayPal?
On Christmas.
On Christmas. You got PayPal? I said, for what? He said, because I need money. I said,
crackhead.
Only
at
Zelle.
this point, you are a crackhead.
No, he asked me for Cash App. Cash App. It was Cash App. Then I said, I only have a Zelle. He said, okay, so Zelle me. I said, my limit is like so low. He said, it's okay, just Zelle me.
Do what you can. $2, $3.
Send it.
25 cents.
I said, just wait. I'll be home tomorrow or whatever. Like, I just lied. And he was like, because he came.
Because at this point, I'm telling
he
her.
took a private jet to Miami, but it was a Hard Rock private jet.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they give it to you when you're about to spend money. Mm-hmm. And then he posted like hella racks. So I was like, okay, like, I just got to keep it cool with him, and he's going to give me the money. And you told me, like...
That's why I kept telling her. I was like, we don't want to give him any reason to not get the money. So play everything cool. Don't go off. Don't nothing. It's like, everything is cool. It's fine.
So Offset's on a private jet. You might be asking yourself, how did he afford a private jet, right? If he's borrowing money from Lil Tjay, Selena Powell, where's that jet money coming from? Well, what he's on is likely a private jet that is owned by the Hard Rock Casino, meaning that the casino is literally flying him private, most likely because he was spending so much money at the establishment on gambling that he was being treated like a high-level customer, right? He didn't have a performance there. He wasn't doing some sort of walkthrough gig at the Hard Rock Casino. This is not Disneyland. He wasn't bringing, his entire family for a field trip at the Hard Rock. That's not why they were all on this private jet. The only reason he's on a plane that the Hard Rock probably owns is because he was most likely a high roller, gambling so much money that they wanted to keep him happy, so they let him take a jet to fly back to Florida to get back in their disgusting, vile establishment. And keep in mind, he's flying private, but yet he's still asking a mattress actress who faked a pregnancy with him for money. She gives him money, but then ultimately she sees, once it's Christmas morning, that he's actually gifting other women fancy gifts, right? Watches and all that stuff. So this is where things kind of get bad. And it's another very common thing with gambling addicts where it's like, they'll owe the entire world money, right? Like the mafia will want to come and break my friend's legs because he took out money from a loan shark. But meanwhile, he's still door dashing lunch more than I am, even when he's like $100,000 in debt. Or he'll go out, he'll hit the clubs, he'll hit a sports game, whatever the case is. And like you'll see him post it on his Instagram and be like, last month, didn't that guy's mom had to bail him out of a gambling hole he was in so the mob wouldn't break his legs? And now he's at the hockey game. Where do you get the money for that? Like, that's how I look at my friend, and I'm assuming that's exactly how Selena Powell is looking at Offset. In this state of mind, after losing egregious amounts of money, you basically forget the concept of money.
Christmas morning. Strolling through Instagram, just strolling. I see some random bitch post 4 Birkins, 2 watches, and a ring. It says, Offset gave his girlfriend all that. I said, huh? Okay. Ding, 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 ding. Now I'm mad. So now I screenshot it to him. Now you're cheating on me?
You're cheating on me.
No, not only is he cheating on me, but no, I was more mad. Like, you just cashed out on this. You can't give me back my money. Why do you keep stalling me now? And then not only that, you're asking me for more money.
Yeah.
Like, that's what was like really disrespectful to me. Like, you're asking me for more.
Yeah.
Like, now in my heart, I'm like, oh my God, he's like pimping me. Like, I felt like he's my pimp. Like, I paid you for sex type shit. Like, no. So now I feel tried or whatever. Now it's like the temperature turned up a little, so much that he was like, this is scaring me, Selena. He said,
you're going back to your old ways.
He said, yeah, this is scaring me, Selena. Why are you mad at me? I never lied to you. And I was like, just give me my money and let's go our own ways. He said, you're not going to stand on that. I said, yes, I am.
So obviously Selena Powell, she starts getting pissed. She's like, you've been asking me for money. I've been giving it to you. You don't pay me back. You ask me for more. Like, I see you on private jets. I see you getting other girls gifts. She's trying to break it off with him and just basically be like, look, we don't have to speak again. Just give me my money. I'll be on my way. But of course, this wouldn't be an expose by Selena Powell if she didn't get into some absolutely vile and intricate details describing Offset's, let's just say, preferences in the bedroom. And I mean, it's crazy. I feel like if I was watching this like 10 years ago, these random IG models, if you want to call her that, this mattress actress, like she wouldn't have access to these celebrities in this vulnerable state back then. And we would never hear about it. We never did hear about it. Now the entire world is like one big baddies or Kardashian episode. It's insane.
Oh, did you test it out?
Test what out?
To see if he was a little...
Oh, of course. I can't wait. Yeah, of course. Of course I ate his ass.
Did he get?
Of course I ate his ass. No. But no.
Wait, you did?
I never told you?
Wait.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
No.
I said he's gay. Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. I swear, Milan. I'll look at our text messages. You guys, the text messages with Milan will be right here. I promise. Yes, I did.
In what position?
He didn't get no crazy position, though.
So what was it? Was it like an ass toot?
Yeah.
It was like a toot toot?
It was like it was like a lift up. It was like... And then I told you that's when
that was a freaky bitch.
I told you when I was him, he told me, he was like, I could see why people f with you. I was like,
I see why. I see the hype.
All right, so forget all that stuff. This is where Selena keeps pushing it to more and more extreme levels. She starts revealing private information about Cardi B's new baby daddy / fiance potentially. Offset obviously has a problem with him and even called Selena to tell her he's trying to get Stefon Diggs' knees popped. Do you understand what a horrible thing that would be if you actually went through with something like that? That would destroy this man's entire career, right? Like, he's a football player. He needs his freaking knees, right? The same way, like, if someone tried to pop at your vocal cords. As a rapper, you'd be screwed. I mean, there's just a lot of atrociousness that Selena is exposing here, right? She's saying like Cardi B and Offset's child never sees the child that Cardi had with Stefon Diggs, and Offset has a restraining order. He can't see his children now. Keep in mind, we're going grain of salt on everything here because this is coming from Selena Powell's podcast, but she does come out with some receipts here and there.
He called Cardi's new baby a bastard. I was like,
oh.
I don't know why. How is it a bastard though? He was like, because if the babies aren't mine, that's a bastard. I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, so what? You want the baby to be yours? He was like, yeah, because culture don't really fuck with the baby. He was like, yeah, like she just be side-eyeing the baby or whatever, and the nanny be telling me all this. Like, mind you, this is breaking news now. Carti has a restraining order on Offset. So he gets not allowed to talk to the babies at all. He's been FaceTiming Culture through his other daughter this whole time and talking to Culture or whatever. And I guess Culture's been saying like she hasn't even met Stefon. So that's probably why like she thinks like how the fuck is this baby? And I don't talk to my dad. Like, how did you just have a baby, you know? Yeah. And she's like knowing that that's not her brother. And then he told me that he was going to when he sees Stefon, he's gonna shoot him in his knee and strip him and rob him.
If I catch Buddy and I can catch him, it's gonna be bad.
So I think
she on some beat, strip, shot in the knee, all type of shit. See, I wasn't on his
shot in the knee.
Crackhead.
Yeah, and
he
said that Stefon went to the hospital when she gave birth and was only there for a few hours because when they were signing the birth certificate, the nurse told her like, yeah, because you're legally married, it has to be Offset's name or your name. And so he got mad, like last name. And he got mad and abandoned her for like 3 days. That they're not even good, yeah.
What?
That's what he told me.
Why would he be mad? Bitch, you knew I was married when we got into this. What are you talking about? Sign the paper. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't know if that's really true or not. Stefon doesn't really like, well, I guess I don't know him, but like.
Now, I can't help but think how bad this is for the kids, right? Like, leaving your business so exposed to someone like Selena Powell. Like, how bad is your decision making? All this stuff is now public on the internet. for your kids to see when they grow up. And it's not even like it's coming from you or Cardi B. It's coming from things that you told this woman because you were trying to manipulate her into thinking you guys were in a relationship so that you can take her money to go gamble with it. Allegedly, right? Allegedly. And then with the whole, Stephon Diggs thing where Offset is talking about, popping at his kneecaps, like, do you guys not remember the fact that Takeoff lost his life to unnecessary violence fueled by ego, exactly like this situation, right? And what makes it even more eerily similar is that it was over a dice game, a gambling game. And all this is rooted in whatever Offset has going on with this freaking Hard Knock casino. You lose someone you consider a brother, someone you accomplished so much with in the music industry, like Takeoff, like Offset did with Takeoff. How are you still moving like this? How are you still moving the way that you're moving? So anyways, back to the whole money thing, right? Like, Offset's telling Selena Powell now that, a few days later she can come and get her money. Finally, it's already been days she's been asking to just have nothing to do with the guy anymore, but just at least to come collect her cash. So he tells her to come at 4 a.m. Like, he's completely stringing her along, making her wait up all night to collect her money, giving her excuse after excuse, and then eventually just boom, he's ghosting her. He doesn't answer. Once that happens, she threatens to expose him, and then he comes in threatening to get her harmed. Like, just absolutely spiraling. You want to talk about unnecessary violence over ego? Now you're threatening a female over $15,000? Like, guys, what are we doing here?
For 3:30, I put in my little GPS. I'll get there at 4:15. Perfect. On my way. Told him my mom would wait. He didn't reply, so I'm thinking, like, okay, we're good. 4:15, like 4-ish comes. I'm almost there. I told him I'm almost there. He was like, you're going to have to still wait. I'm in court. Sends me a screenshot. I saved the picture that he sends because he really is in court. It says he's in court. Why this man had court the following day on that Monday? It said Monday that he had court. So the screenshot that he sent me, because, when you save photos, you can see. Okay, let me just give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to still wait. I park up at, like, a gas station. I go and get me something to drink. Come back out. I'm like, okay, like, you good now? He said, no, still wait. I go get food. Come back out.
We are giving this man too many grace. Too much grace.
Too much graces, bro. An hour goes by, still nothing. Then he said, you want to see a screenshot? I said, yeah. He sent me another screenshot. Save it. It was still the other day, and I know why he screenshotted it, because he had a call coming through. So whoever called him that the previous day, he probably screenshotted it and was like, yo, I'm in court, I can't answer. Weird. So I'm like, bro, now you're playing me. And I just out him. I was like, bro, I know for a fact you're lying to me. Look at the screenshot dates. He was like, oh, I sent you the wrong one. After he said that, he went and ghosted on me. Ghosted me the whole entire night. Didn't say not one word back. I'm blowing his phone up, threatening him, all that. Like, I'm going to post you, whatever. Didn't give a not one text. Then the next day, I was like, okay, if I apologize to you for talking crazy, can you please just give me back my money? He said, bro, you've been going crazy on me. I said, okay, I apologize for calling you a bitch and calling out your name. Can you please just give me my money so we don't have to talk anymore? He said, yes. Okay, when? Ghost. Okay.
What?
Okay.
Think shit sweet. I'm thinking sweet. The shit ain't sweet, mama. On my mama, it ain't. My mama, you think you seen something every time? Why did?
So after this, Selena Powell posted on her Instagram saying, if anything happens to me, Offset did it. I'm tired of this grown man threatening me almost every day and got me living in fear because he owes me $15,000. I tried to get my money back for weeks, and all I've gotten is threats. Then Selena does what she usually does, like she threatened Offset to do, expose him. She posted a video of them together laid up in bed. And I mean, you could just see the look on this girl's face. Like, she knew exactly what she was doing by laying up in bed with Offset. She's flipping him off while he's asleep. Like, she already knew that she was about to be out here exposing him. And I mean, I can't blame her, right? Because he's screwing her over by stealing her money. But it's like just a matrix, layers of like scummy decisions stacking on top of each other. But anyways, after Selena Powell would drop all these bombshells, the story would kind of blow over. But fans who just happened to be at the Hard Rock all throughout the next couple days in the beginning of January, a bunch of them literally spotted Offset and took videos with him. I mean, notice in this one, he's flexing a quote-unquote $1 million watch, probably intentionally because he knows the, rumors going around in the news about him at this point in time.
Oh, flexing the watch.
business she did, $1 million. That's what that cost. We did.
Now remember, Offset is out here flexing $1 million watches, but it's not just Selena Powell that he owes money to. It's also Lil Tjay. Remember what I showed you guys earlier in this video, Lil Tjay talking about how Offset's broke, Offset stole money from him, but also those text interactions and those Instagram comment interactions where Offset was threatening Lil Tjay to come fight him. They were going back and forth planning for some physical altercations to actually go down. Well, I'm sure if you guys are on this video, you know what happened on the night of April 6th. Right outside that very same place that Selena Powell accused Offset of basically hibernating in all throughout December, the Hard Knock Casino.
Y'all want the scoop? It's all on camera, bruh. Hey, man, this fool Lil Tjay that shot this nigga goddamn Offset in the ass, bro. Offset was whooping Lil Tjay at the goddamn Hard Rock, and then what turned around, bruh? Hey, he walked off and Tjay pulled a whole move and dolphined him and shot him in the cheeks. That's why he's sitting in the back of the squad car right now. That's the breaking news.
Now guys, this is just incredibly sad all across the board, not just because, Offset was likely suffering this gambling addiction, borrowing money that he couldn't pay back, and then, being super aggressive unnecessarily when people ask for their money back, but at the same time, simultaneously, Lil Tjay had just survived fatal gunshot wounds. I'm not sure if fatal is the right word, in terms of the definition. He almost passed away. That's how bad these injuries were that he survived just a couple years ago. And it seems like ever since, that whole incident that he recovered from, his energy has been very dark, darker than we saw before the injury happened in the public light, at least. So for him to allegedly be at the center of this issue, even if Offset owed him money, it's just very sad that these guys escalated the situation to this point. All outside, again, one of the biggest, if not the biggest casino in Florida, which is one of the biggest states for that type of institution, right? The Hard Rock Casino, it is massive. For Offset to be outside of there, shot, broad daylight, people walking around, this is just mind-boggling behavior. Now, on the bright side of things, TMZ had reported that they spoke with one of Offset's spokespersons who says that Offset is fine. He's currently in the hospital receiving medical care, but his condition is stable, being closely monitored. Even one of the police officers had told TMZ that they're aware of an incident that occurred at the valet area after 7 p.m. Monday outside of the Seminole Hard Rock Hollywood that resulted in what they call a non-life-threatening injury to an individual who was transported to the hospital. Now, at the same time, 2 suspects are detained for the situation. So at the time of this recording, no official arrests have been made, and we also don't know for sure that Lil Tjay was one of the suspects that was detained for questioning, right? However, DJ Big Macus and Akademiks, he claims that he has tonight just spoken to Lil Tjay's team, and they told him that Lil Tjay was not shot. He's perfectly fine. However, he was taken into custody for questioning, so it does look like Lil Tjay was involved in this altercation. It was most likely a fight about the money that Offset had owed him, right?
No, that was I just talked to TJ's, manager. So they're telling me this is what they're telling me. They're saying TJ wasn't shot, but the police are processing him. So I don't know if he's gonna get charged for something. He's in custody. They have him. They don't know. I guess there's lawyers involved now. They don't know what charge he's gonna get, but he's getting processed. So at some point we're gonna see some arrest or something like that. But they're claiming he's not injured in terms of a gunshot. I don't know. So they're saying not shot, in custody.
Now, what's interesting as well is that Akademiks had also gone on to say that he has an interview that he did with Lil Tjay that was never released. It was supposed to come out whenever Lil Tjay's newest album is coming out. And in that interview, there's a short little segment where Akademiks asked Lil Tjay about, all the controversy that he had with Offset in the past. Because obviously, like I showed you guys, this has been years in the making. Lil Tjay was calling Offset out for his gambling problems years ago, claiming that Offset's broke, claiming he owes him money, etc. So Akademiks actually previews part of his interview with Lil Tjay. And in this, Lil Tjay gives us some clear depiction that seems pretty dark on how when he went back to Offset to ask for his money, Offset basically told him to Get It Back in Blood. The irony that he's quoting a Pooh Shiesty song when, like I told you guys before, both of these recent controversies happened within a few days of each other back in January, and then both of them actually unfolded and took these dark turns just a few days between each other in March. The Pooh Shiesty and Gucci case, and then now the Offset Lil Tjay thing. Pretty insane.
I did ask him about this situation with Offset, and Offset not giving him the money back. And I will tell you in a very eerie way, and again, I'm not doing a Vlad, so I'm not gonna like drop the interview tomorrow. But I do have a TJ interview. I'm trying to, whatever his album's coming out, I'm trying to like match it with that. But he did say, I believe on the interview, when I asked him, I said, yo, so what happened when you try to get your money back from Offset? He bluntly told me, he said Offset told him. He said Offset DM'd him and said, get it back in blood. That ain't me. That's literally what he said. I swear. That ain't me. That's what he said. That's what he said. That's what he said. And I was like, oh, okay. So supposedly he lends this nigga 10 bands, and I ain't gonna lie, in the interview, it's not like TJ broke, but you was like, yo, man, I'm about to, man, if I lend you money, nigga, I need my shit back. I'm not trying to give you money or whatever. Supposedly Offset told him in DMs, because I said, well, why you ain't just holla at him for the money? He said, yeah, I did. So I said, what'd he say? He told me to get it back in blood. I swear. That's what he said in the interview. I swear. I ain't making that up. Yo, we're like a weird time now. I'm like, is me saying that maybe I gotta bury this footage? But that's what he said in the interview. I ain't gonna cap.
Gotta wake up and stop.
He try to make you sound like you the first nigga that says you seen Offset in a casino. I'm like, nah, you lying. Like, I know he does his thing, but like, you act like you just saw him like randomly and down bad. What was behind that?
I don't know, broski. He's just on some weird shit.
Did he give you your money back?
I don't know. Nigga, he told me to get that shit back in blood. Like that.
Oh, okay. He did say on the interview. Yeah, he told me to get that. Yo, okay. All right. I'm not capping, chat. This is a clip from my interview that's coming out, but it's a longer interview. We talk about Offset probably for like 2 minutes. So I just had to go back to the interview to see what the fuck he said. Laying down bad. What was behind that?
I don't know, broski. He's just on some weird shit.
Did he give you your money back?
I don't know. Nigga, he told me to get that shit back in blood. Like that shit was cute.
Oh shit.
I look at it like, bro, you mad old gang compared to me, bro. Like I wish I would. Like that's like I'm gambling right now, and I fake like I ain't want to use no names, you feel me? But that's like, you feel me? Me gambling right now, and somebody I think is like a little nigga, like, you feel me? Not like I'm a little nigga, I'm way younger than him, you feel me? Like, and I'm like, yo, I'm not gonna even do that. It's not my character trait. But they be like, nah, here, put the next bet. After I quit, I tap out. You feel me? On some, like, not even. That's not like that. It's like if I asked. And then when it's time to pay back, they don't even hit me back. They hit me back probably like a couple weeks later, like, yo, what's up with that, broski? And then, you feel me? And then tap in again.
I had no idea what he was talking about right here. I don't do dice, so I was like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Over a period of time, like, feel me, damn near every month, and then eventually it's like, yo, broski, you trying to get smacked, and nigga, get it back in blood. It's like, nigga.
You
That's weird.
Is the first time you got finessed by a rapper?
Finesse? I mean, nigga stole. Shit ain't really finesse. But, I mean, I guess so, yeah.
Damn. No, are you ever...
And that's little shit. You know, I don't even really be fucking with niggas, you feel me? I'll be in my own lane, gang.
Was he mad that you just mentioned it publicly? Because maybe he just think that, you know, he's probably thinking like, you know, I'm not broke. I just needed that right there. Like, you know, when you in the casino and you get hit? I've been in the casino getting hit, pause. And you think, I bet the next 10 bands about to get me back my 500 that I lost.
I'll be honest with you. Yeah, cool, bro. But what I got to do to get me back my money?
Okay, I get that.
Give me back my money. She ain't got nothing to do that.
I get it.
All in all, guys, really sad situation. And there's layers to the, you know, unfortunate aspects of this scenario here. For starters, a gambling addiction, that is not something that is easy to kick. It's like being addicted to hard drugs. Like literally the brain chemistry when you're hitting those slot machines compulsively is very similar to when you're doing a hard drug and you're completely addicted and dependent on it. And as you can see, it could cause you to spiral down these rabbit holes where you spend days on end locked in a casino, where you're borrowing money from strangers that you have no intention on paying back, to the point where you're getting into fights and getting shot over money that you owe people all from gambling, all from sinking yourself in a bigger hole. And a second layer that's really sad about this situation is the fact that look at, the people that Offset has lost to gun violence, tragically, right? Takeoff specifically. It was a situation so similar to this over a dice game. Gambling with egos getting in the way and shots being fired. Nearly an identical situation just happened today with Offset himself. And ironically, it was allegedly with another rapper who was also staring life in the face when he was a victim of several gunshot wounds just a couple years back. Pray for everyone involved in this situation, and let's hope that no one got injured and this can be chalked up to a lesson learned and the beginning of Offset being on that path to recovery, not just physically from this injury, but more importantly, from that chokehold that gambling can so easily grip upon you. But let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you in the next one.
I study rap for a living.